Okay, we're live, and it looks like the URL was wrong, so not bad for my first time being live. Second time, actually. First time was last week when we tried out the camera. This week we are actually going to do Stir Wednesday, which is like Stir Friday, except today's Wednesday. Anyhow, any day that I make a stir fry in the house, it is Stir Day. For those of you who have joined, welcome. And my daughter Madison is going to be doing the moderation, so she can tell me if there's some chats and some highs and shoutouts and stuff to do. First thing we have to do though is get our beef, which is going to be in the beef and broccoli, prepared. Pick up my knife quietly, and I'm going to use a flank steak. And what I want to do is take off the silver skin very easily. A couple of pieces of silver skin here. That's the tough part that doesn't render down very well. Flip it over, and there's one more piece on the back. I'm gonna make sure that it's all off. There. So because this is a flank steak and all the muscle runs in one direction, we're going to cut it in half and then cut against the grain to make it nice and tender. And of course, for beef and broccoli, gotta have some nice pieces of beef. I'm going to marinate this, not for a long time. You can marinate it overnight if you like. The marinade that I'm using with the vinegar and the acids should only take about 20 minutes, which is enough time to get our vegetables in place. All right. Put our beef in a bowl. In the bowl, and of course you have to season. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Now the marinade is going to consist of some hoisin sauce. Probably going to use about a tablespoon of that. Comes out pretty quick. We'll use some low sodium soy sauce. Again, about a tablespoon. A quarter of a tablespoon of sesame oil, and some rice wine vinegar. Just about a quarter tablespoon there too. Once that is done, we'll mix it up. Making sure everything's nice and coated. Love the smell of sesame. That is our beef marinade done. So now for beef and broccoli, we have to prepare the broccoli. 2 stalks of broccoli, and we're going to make some florets. And what you do is you just cut off the florets as you're going along the broccoli. I'm going to show you a little trick with the stalk here in a moment. So a lot of people don't know that the stalk is very flavorful. I just cut the tops off. You want them to come out in nice bite-sized pieces. Put those in a bowl. A couple more here. There. One for the cat. Hopefully he'll make an appearance. Now the stalk, as you can see, you peel off the outer skin all the way down. Just keep going along. And by the time you're done, you should have a triangle of broccoli. I want to make sure all the stalk is off because it's very woody, but the interior is soft and tender. And that's how much extra broccoli you can get. We'll cut that up into little pieces, because that's going to add some more texture to our beef and broccoli. And I think we'll do one more. Just clean up my plate here. Cut the florets off. If you find you get a big one like that, you can just turn it upside down, cut it in half. Broccoli. And we'll do the same with this stock. You always want to cut off probably about 1 inch to 1.5 inches at the bottom, because that part has been soaking in water and not very tasty. And again, we'll peel it, get the wood off the top of the tree, so to speak, and we're going to eat the inside of it. It's always good to have your green bin container handy. And the only time I wouldn't eat the stock is if you find out that you look at the bottom of the stock and it looks like it's been separated and dried and wilted. First of all, the broccoli's not that fresh. Second, I wouldn't eat the stock. Okay, so we have the broccoli done. And of course, in beef and broccoli, you have to have some onion. I'm going to kick it up a little bit by using a shallot. Peel the shallots. It's just a milder form of onion. You want to make sure that you get all the old skin off, so that you have a nice clean shallot. You'll probably see me dice shallots, I don't know how many times. Actually, I've done about 80 videos so far, so probably 60 times. And now, for the beef and broccoli, we want them almost bite-sized pieces, so probably about 1/4 inch. And one more. That's our shallot all ready to go. I'm going to grab a little plate for that. And normally I would put garlic and all kinds of seasoning. However, I'm going to make it a honey garlic beef and broccoli. And what I did today was make my homemade honey garlic sauce. And we'll thicken that up once we get the beef and the broccoli on the stove. So the beef broccoli mise en place is ready to go. Probably another 10 minutes on the beef. And we'll get ready with some vegetables. So I was planning on doing some sweet and sour peppers. However, I've got some snap peas, I've got some mushrooms, so I think I'll just do a vegetable medley with the sweet and sour sauce. Again, homemade. And I'll post these recipes up on the website later on after we make these and see how good they are. One person asked me, I saw that the other day, about what to do if you get garlic on your hands. You can't get rid of the garlic smell. I have one of these stainless steel that looks like soap. And you rub that around in your hands under some soap and water, the garlic smell goes away. All right, now for our vegetables. Let's do the peas first. And the beauty is you can put all the peas, all your veggies in one bowl. Snap peas are nice, you can just fry them as they are. However, there's a string on these, and you'll find that the string gets annoying. So what you do is you peel off the top, pull out the string, and your pea is done. We'll do that again. When you're feeding a family, it's not too bad. When you feed a couple hundred people, this can be really mind-numbing or therapeutic. Skin and all, we'll get some healthy peas in our diet. At this point, you can also check your produce, make sure that it came out all right. Sometimes you'll get peas with bruises on them, things like that. It doesn't taste very good. Get rid of all the stringers. And it seems like we have a stir day almost once a week, just because it's easy, it's quick, and if you've only got a half an hour or so, you can get everything ready and just throw it all together. You'll see when we start cooking, it does not take very long. The longest item to cook is the rice, and I've had my rice cooking now for about 30-35 minutes. And as soon as I'm done the veggies, we will get the rice on the boil and then down to simmer. And I'm going to add some vegetables to that too as well. I add a couple of, probably about a cup of peas. If you have any questions, feel free to chat. Always in a chatty mood, especially when I'm cooking. Normally I cook in the kitchen by myself and talk to myself. Nice for a change to have somebody to talk to. All right, I think that's enough peas. Again, keeping the cutting board clean, which is important. You don't want to get messy. We're going to use a real onion for our vegetables, tail and top. Cut in half, remove the outer skin. Keep some of the green. And again, we are making a stir fry, and this one's with vegetables, so you don't want to cut your onions into tiny little pieces. You want something you can pick up with a fork, and we're going to make sure that they're cut properly. So we'll cut it in half, and once again, this time probably half-inch pieces. That's the onions ready to go, and I'll put those over here so they don't leach into the other food. Now, for our peppers, we've got a green pepper, an orange pepper, and a red pepper. Where's the ball? No, just kidding. All right, so what we need to do is just go down the sides, and that way you get all the pepper and no seeds. Just like that. Do the same for the green. Found the ball. Knew there was a little bud in there. And we'll do the orange pepper as well. So the peppers we want, again, in bite-sized pieces. be sweet and sour, so it should be really good. And they don't have to be perfect in size. It's always nice to have a variety in terms of sizes. Your cuts don't have to be perfect. And that's what I like about stir fries. Just throw it in the pan, get it hot, get it cooked, and you're ready to go. Actually, after this meal, you're probably ready to go in about an hour. And one more green pepper. Okay, that's the green peppers and the red peppers done. And I think we'll do some mushrooms too. Just a few. Now, if you buy mushrooms in the store and you get them in a container like this, you may notice they're pretty well clean. However, if you get one that's got some dirt on it, just take a paper towel, just brush it off. It's not going to hurt you. Nothing wrong with it. So I'll get 5 button mushrooms and some creminis as well. These have a nicer texture to them. All right. So on our mushrooms, you want to take off the bottom, because that's usually the part that dries out. So we'll bottom all the take the bottom off all the mushrooms. As they dry out, they get woody, so you don't want that in your stir fry. Again in the green bin, and we'll just chop them up. Mushrooms are a lot of water, so when you put them in the pan, they'll reduce down the size quite a bit. Which is something you don't want. You don't want your mushrooms to disappear, so cut them probably 1/4 of an inch or 2 or 3 millimeters. All right. So let me see now. We have our beef and broccoli ready to go. We have our veggies for the sweet and sour peppers. Let's get some rice. So as you can see, I've been soaking the rice for about an hour. And as I spin it around, you'll see the water get cloudy. That's most of the starch. So what I want to do, I want to drain this. Shake off all the excess water. Bring it over to my pot. Put it in. The ratio of rice to water should be 1 to 1.5. So I've got a cup of rice and I've got a cup and a half of chicken stock. Adds a little more flavor. Turn that on to high. Cover it. And I'll wait till that comes up to boil, and then I'll reduce the heat and let that sit for 10 minutes. While that's happening, let's get our beef and broccoli on the go. And we're going to use the honey garlic sauce for that. So if I put that sauce in just the way it is, it's going to end up being, it's not going to thicken up and it's not going to coat everything. So what I have to do is add some cornstarch, and I'll mix that up in a glass with some water before I add it to the frying pan. Turn that on high. Let it come up to temperature. going to add some grapeseed oil. You don't want to add olive oil because it's got a low smoke point. You want a high, pardon me, you want a high smoke point oil. I think I dripped some water. And of course, keep things clean as we're going. Move some stuff out of the way so we can see what's going on. There's my sous chef. All right, and I'll get a cup with some warm water in it for the cornstarch. Just about a tablespoon and a half of water. Now obviously I'm not going to be cooking the beef and broccoli at the same time as I cook the peppers, so I'm going to do the beef and broccoli first, then I'm going to put it in a pan that will keep it warm until the vegetables cook, and the vegetables cook pretty fast. Bit of water under my rice. Make sure I get all the seeds off my peppers. I don't mind the water on the burner, but it drives me crazy because the pot tends to pop and skip and jump. Okay, I think our oil is up to temperature. We're going to add our shallots. And I will season the shallots with just a dash of pepper, salt and pepper. What I want to do is cook these down until they fall apart. So I have individual pieces of shallot. Shouldn't take very long, maybe about a minute, minute and a half. You don't want to burn them, you just want them to go nice with your beef and your broccoli. Those are breaking down nice. Now we'll add our beef and the marinade. We're going to let this cook. With this type of beef, probably about 5 minutes, because there is a line of fat and gristle in the middle that we want to render out. What are you doing, sir? I have my sous chef Dash watching me. While the beef is cooking, we see that the rice is starting to boil. And I'm going to turn that down to medium-low now that it's started to boil. 10 minutes, 6:25, so 6:35 my rice should be done perfectly. Okay. Fat's starting to render out of the beef, which is a good thing. And we'll get the slurry going while that's happening. So I've got a tablespoon of cornstarch, and like I said, tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of water. I'll dump that in. Mix it all around, let it get completely incorporated. You don't want any bumps. And that will be at the very end. And what it will do is thicken up our sauce. Lots of fat rendering out of the meat. This will be the part that takes the longest to cook. You see right now they're about a medium rare. We want it a little bit more. And lots of steam, which will take care of the broccoli. The rice is just humming away. All right, broccoli's good. I think we'll add our broccoli now. And we just want to cover the top, everything with broccoli. Let that sort of steam on itself for a couple of seconds. And you'll be able to tell when your broccoli is done because it will get very nice and a very dark green color. Some people like their broccoli, you could almost say mushy. I like mine kind of firm, just green and cooked. I could eat a whole head of broccoli raw if I had to. And of course, broccoli you can enjoy all year round. If you buy frozen broccoli, you want to thaw it out first, and when you cook it, you just want to basically flash steam it because it's already got a whole bunch of water in it. 9 times out of 10, it's a crapshoot whether it comes out crispy or whether it comes out soggy. Now, as you can see, the broccoli is starting to turn a very deep color green. Very good. Keep the slurry mixed because the cornstarch does settle to the bottom. If you don't use your cornstarch, it won't thicken up the sauce. All right. Who do we have? Hi, Queen. Tony, pleasure to see you. If you're wondering who the moderator is, that's my daughter Madison. And it's just killing her to sit in the corner and be quiet. But that's okay. All right, so now our broccoli are a very nice deep green. It's time to add the honey garlic sauce. And I put this in there when it was warm. Oh, lots of garlic. It's got ginger. It's got garlic in it. I'm not going to use it all because this is for a heat big thing of ribs. And now what we need to do is let this come up to boil before we add our cornstarch slurry. Because if I added it now, it would just stick to everything and the sauce wouldn't coat everything, and it wouldn't be unctuous, is the word they say. So what I'm doing, I'm making a pool in the middle, and I'll let that come up to boil. And make sure I get everything there. Shouldn't take too long. 3 minutes more on the rice. Yep. Whew. Get a facial every time I do that. And this still hasn't helped. So I made the sauces earlier on today because they were not intense to make, but it took a while. And there was a lot of garlic in the honey garlic, and I had to spend some time cleaning up and getting the garlic off my fingers. And that'll keep in the fridge probably for about a week. You want to use it quicker than that. If you bought a honey garlic sauce that was pre-made in a bottle, it'll last in the fridge for a few years, but I don't use any preservatives. Okay, I've got boiling liquid, and I'm going to add my cornstarch. And the liquid, of course, goes back down to not boiling. However, cornstarch doesn't start to thicken until it boils. Once it boils, then you've got a nice thick sauce. I'm just going to make sure that all the liquid has cornstarch in it. And I may need a bigger pot. Keep it stirring all the way around. If we have any questions. Do you know what the difference between boogers and what? Boogers and broccoli. Kids don't eat broccoli. They do in my house, or I kick their ass. Broccoli is really good for you. If you want to get kids to eat broccoli, do like I suggested. Cut the stalk and tell them that it's a bland carrot or something, if they eat vegetables at all. All right, our sauce is starting to thicken. 1.5 minutes left on the rice. Then we get to the sweet and sour vegetable medley. All right. This is looking good. So my broccoli is nice and green. My sauce is starting to thicken up very nicely. And that, I would say, is beef and broccoli. Another couple of seconds. Rice should be done. Yes, it is. Let's do the fluffy test. Nice and fluffy. Perfect. No liquid on the bottom. And to make it a little special, I'm going to add about a half cup of peas. Frozen peas. They work just as good. Give it a stir. Keep it covered off the heat. All right. So the beef and broccoli is done. And because I've only got one, I wouldn't call it a wok, but it is it's what I use for a wok. I'm going to put my beef and broccoli in the serving dish and keep it warm while we make the vegetables. And let's see if I can do that without making a mess. Probably not. Oh, that looks good. So I wish I could send it out for delivery, but let me see. Queen, you're in North Carolina. That would take about 3 days to get there. So it wouldn't be warm. It may not even be healthy. Okay, that's the beef and broccoli done. I'll put a top on that right away to keep it warm. And I got to do a quick cleanup of the pan. Sorry my back's to you, but that's what you have to do when you only have one pan. All right. Going to dry the bottom off because I don't like this here of the pan. Sizzle too much. Is that my sous chef? Is that my sous chef? Come here. Come here. Let me introduce you to my sous chef. This is Dash. Say hello, Dash. You're more curious what I got going on, aren't you? Aren't you? Yes, I know. For instance, some of you have to very big right now. Say hello. All right, silly cat. Time for some vegetables. Once again, grapeseed oil, because you want an oil that has a high smoke point to it. And this will be a real stir fry, as it doesn't take long for the vegetables to cook, especially once the onions start to break down a little. Then I can just add the peppers and the mushrooms and the peas, and we'll be all set to go. Get my sweet sour sauce. Again, I'm going to need to thicken that up with some more cornstarch, which doesn't hurt to get ready. So again, just about a teaspoon and a half of water, tablespoon of cornstarch, I should say a tablespoon and a half of water. Put that in. Get it all mixed up. All right, I can smell the grapeseed oil, so I'm going to put in the onions. Yes, I'm using onions, Dash. Just a dash of salt on the onions to help them break down a little better. What I'm looking for here is that the onions become translucent, but not cooked or caramelized, because again, it is a stir fry. And you really do want your onions to add some flavor, but also texture to your meal. Not going to add any garlic or ginger to this because there's more than enough garlic or ginger in the beef and broccoli. I think I used 6 cloves of garlic. All right, this is doing well. Any questions? Any answers? Mrs. Dash is the cat. No, it's Mr. Dash, and or Velcro, whichever you want to say. Whenever I come back from a trip, I can't seem to shake him. He's there. The cat is funny. The cat tells us when to go to bed. Tells us when to wake up in the morning. I think its stomach tells us that. But usually around 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, if we decide we're going to stay up and watch a movie a little bit later, this little guy will be running around the house screaming and yelling at us that, hey, you guys have to go to bed. So we give in after about a half an hour or so, and he comes up on the bed and he's loving everything, and then he goes downstairs, leaves us alone, and starts to play. And he's got a couple of balls that he runs around with. They're hard, bouncy balls, and you can hear him running through the house with those. He'll do that for about a half an hour, and then it's time to go to bed. All right, so the onions are now translucent and ready. So we'll add, let me see here. We're going to add the peppers and the peas. This is a very healthy dish, lots of color, which is what you want. And you want to stir it around so that the oil, which is nice and hot, gets on everything. All right. Another little dash of salt. And if you're wondering how much salt, like that's a lot of salt, no, I'm not really using that much salt, just enough to pinch between my fingers. It might be a quarter of a teaspoon, It just brings out the flavor and the color as well. Oh, that smells real good. Okay, let's add our mushrooms. Any comments, questions? How's the sound? I figured out how to use the wireless microphone with the iPhone, because the other piece of this camera called the Boost is not going to arrive until tomorrow. But now when that arrives tomorrow, that means that in June when we do another live stream, it's barbecue season, baby. We're going to go outside, get the barbecue going. I'll show you the perfect hamburger to make on a barbecue. We'll do some chicken wings and hot sauce. That'll all be next in about a month from now. Okay. I'm going to give these just another minute or so, because I want everything to be cooked. And you can start to tell that the mushrooms are starting to break down. So what they do is they actually start soaking up some of the oil, releasing their moisture and getting smaller. And you don't need to worry about your rice. The rice is fine. There's no more liquid to be absorbed, no more starch in it, so it's not going to end up sticky, and it will be nice and fluffy on your plate. Okay. Let's add some sweet and sour sauce to our vegetables. I was telling my daughter I should have 3 mason jars, 2 of sauces and one with something else in it. A little better. Nope, I'm gonna wait. Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. I need a little more sauce, I think. And wipe my hand off because the sauce is slippery. Very tasty. So the secret to getting your vegetables done perfectly is a high heat. Let them saute for 2 to 3 minutes. And then when you add your sauce, make a well in the middle and let that come up to boiling before you add your cornstarch. I shall move some plates. Clean off my cutting board because we're going to plate up a meal here in a moment. All right, just about ready to add the cornstarch. Again, make sure it's all mixed up nice. Nothing on the bottom. Pour it in. Stir it around and let it come back up to a boil. And you don't have to use water. You could use chicken stock. You could use any liquid you want. Just don't use alcohol because it's flammable. All right, couple of seconds on that. And another fork to go in the sink. There's my boil. And you'll see the sauce will start to thicken up right away. But don't be fooled. You still need about 2 or 3 minutes of a good boil to cook the cornstarch. And there's no calories in cornstarch, which is a good thing. Actually, I think this meal is probably, well, the sauce has some calories in it, but other than that, it's a Very delicious side dish. I love stirring food. I love it when it keeps the color. Family of trying to see the. I'm gonna have to get a bigger screen because I can hardly see the chats. What's Tony saying? Addison, what's Tony say there? Oh, yes. Domestic goddesses, everybody loves food. It's a great conversation starter. Doesn't matter where you are. You can talk about food. If you want to start a fight, you can talk about barbecue. Who's got the best? The East, the West. So far this year, I've had Texas barbecue. I have had South Carolina barbecue, North Carolina barbecue, Arkansas barbecue, and you know, they're all good. I didn't find one I didn't like. I think I'm going to Memphis next month. I might be able to try Memphis barbecue. And the trick to that would be to come back and duplicate it. All right, that is ready. Turn that off, and we're going to plate up our supper in just 1 second, because you cannot have stir fry without a garnish of scallions or green onions, whatever you would like to call them. This must be the national dish of, let's see, I was going to say China, but most of the Chinese restaurants, not Chinese, probably the national dish of most Asian countries. How's that? Political correctness. All right, so what we want to do for our garnish, we want the greens and the whites. We want these fairly thin. Remember to watch out for your fingers. Always keep them curled back. Use this part for your knife. That has saved me many a finger. Except the time that I tried to use a mandolin, which is one of those shaving tools that you get, and I didn't have a glove and I didn't use the guard. And I have a nice scar along my finger of little dots where it got me. It got me good. It got me good. All right, so there's our garnish. Put that on another little plate. All right, let's plate up our beef and broccoli. First up, the rice. Try to keep the peas in check. Don't let them run all over the place. I'm going to use the same spoon because I have to clean up when I'm done. And our sweet and sour pepper vegetable medley. Does that look good? One more rinse. And our beef and broccoli. And there we go. Beef and broccoli, honey garlic beef and broccoli, sweet and sour vegetable medley featuring peppers mostly, and a rice, jasmine rice done up in a chicken stock with some fresh peas. Very healthy, very quick. This is a Stir Wednesday meal. If you like that dish, then give me a like. And if you'd like to see more, of course, subscribe and hit the button. I know a lot of you that join me already subscribe, which I appreciate very, very, very much. We're going to be doing some more live streams coming up. I think probably middle of June, we'll do a barbecue. Look out for the Discord or look out on the channel, set up some notifications, and we'll let you know what's going on. Other than that, I'd like to thank you very much for joining me. Have a great meal. The recipes I'll put online later on tonight for the sauces. Thank you very much. Have a great day. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And I post videos like this every week, so please subscribe. Also, if you'd like more information, head over to my blog, thepersonalchef.blog, where I post this recipe that you can print off. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to helping you cook better, eat healthier, and shop smarter.